No, we're charging you tariffs. If you want to produce your trucks, build your factory in America. So that way, even though you're a Japanese company, at least you have to hire American workers. Let's continue with the video.
Tariffs and these actions, we are hopes that it'll be a motivator to get these companies to get their butts in gear and take care of American workers.
Oh my God.
Let me just pull up these videos, and I promise it'll be quick. One is, I think, 4 minutes. The other is maybe 1 minute and 30 seconds. Not long at all. Let's take a look at these videos, because on the concept of tariffs, I just feel that so many of us are confused on what's really happening. Most of the time, we're getting the information from biased sources one way or another. Whether it's a Democratic source, Republican source, most of the time it's a biased source, whether it's a company source, whatever it is. And I think that a lot of us are being misled when we are trying to gain an understanding on tariffs. A lot of people say that, oh, tariffs are going to be, they're going to raise the prices of everything. That's not true. It can be true. Let's take, for instance, like a Walmart. If Walmart, I believe Walmart, on the video we watched yesterday, I think they said Walmart, 70% of their products are imported from China. If that's the case, then that means Walmart, let's say that if it was a 10% tariff, they would have to pay that 10%. Walmart, they do not have to pass that along to the American people, their consumers. They do not have to pass that along. Now, they can pass it along, but they're not forced to do so. They can pass along 5% of it. They can pass along all 10% of it, or they could just eat the cost, because they understand that tariffs overall are going to be a good thing for the country, because this is what tariffs can do. They're going to raise money for the government. So money that's raised for the government, now they can use it to spend however they want, but money that is raised for the government, hopefully that will mean that that's money that they don't have to print. When they print money, it causes inflation. That's also money that they won't have to get from us. So hopefully that will save us more money in taxes. Now, the reason I'm saying hopefully is because we don't know what the government will do. So I am just, at this point, it's just speculation all over. But when we say that, oh, it's going to raise up the prices, that's not said with speculation. That's said as a fact. It's going to raise the prices. No, that's on Walmart. So with all these goofy boycotts and boycotts that we're doing, this can be very simple. Tariffs are going to encourage companies to have factories in America, so therefore they don't have to pay those tariffs coming in. And what's that going to do? That's going to hire American workers. It's also going to allow American companies that currently have to pay more money to produce their products, because they can't do what a lot of these other countries do and pay people to work in sweatshops $150 a month. So therefore they have to charge more for their products. It's also going to allow American-made products to compete better if, let's say, a Walmart does increase the price of some of their products. I think there was an example of a Hoover vacuum. Hoover vacuums cost more as an American-made company compared to a lot of other companies. Another thing that people bring up matter of fact, let's just look at the videos. Let's look at the videos, and rather than you listen to me, I'd rather you listen to Shawn Fain, who Shawn Fain is the president of the United Auto Workers Union. He's the president of the United Auto Workers Union, somebody who campaigned for Kamala Harris. Let me say that again. Somebody who not only campaigned for Kamala Harris, but called Donald Trump a scab. Was not a fan of Donald Trump, is not a fan of Donald Trump. I don't know, but clearly was not a fan of Donald Trump when he was campaigning for Kamala Harris. So I just want to give full context to what you're getting ready to see. So let's take a look at it, and you hear it from his point of view.
Question yesterday was, is the expectation that these companies are going to shift production in that 1 month period? And the White House press secretary said essentially they need to get on it. But I mean, is that even close to being feasible from your understanding?
I mean, I don't think they'll shift. They can't just shut a plant down and move it in a month. But here's the issue. These companies are making decisions right now as we speak. Right now in Warren, Michigan, there are 2,000 laid off auto workers at the Warren truck plant. And Stellantis is shifting production, overflow production of the Ram truck to Mexico. They can change that decision. Warren Truck was the home of the Ram truck for decades, and so there's decisions like that that can be made, and they can shift it pretty quickly. You talk about John Deere workers. They have a factory that the company's claiming they're going to move to Mexico. You have Mack truck workers in Pennsylvania. The company committed to build a new truck in Pennsylvania. Now they're saying they're going to take it to Mexico. So these
companies are taking their factories outside of America. So they're taking away jobs from Americans, and they're putting them in Mexico and other places. We famously saw the video with Donald Trump calling out John Deere at a John Deere event, saying that if you move your plants and factories to Mexico, we're going to charge you a significantly high tariff. He's using the tariffs to help Americans. This is what, and this is what a lot of people don't realize. Maybe this is what, whether you realize it or not, I'm not going to say a lot of people don't realize, but it doesn't seem like a lot of people realize this. When your money is circulated in your country, that's a positive. So when America makes money and then spends money with American companies, it stimulates the American economy and it helps to increase the value of our dollar. Let me give you an example. The reason why Black people are in the position that we are in a lot of times is because we do what with our dollars as soon as we get them? We do not circulate our money within our community. As soon as we make our money, we spend it with every other community. We are buyers, not sellers, which helps everybody else out and makes us very weak when it comes to economically. This is the same thing that America does throughout the country, throughout the world. America spends more money on Chinese products than China spends on American products. When it comes to being a buyer and seller, guns and butter, right? Baby boy, Ving Rhames, you're either a buyer or you're a seller. Americans are buyers. Sellers are the people that have the money. Sellers are the people that have power. Sellers are the people that have a good economy. Do you want to be a buyer or do you want to be a seller? Black people in America are only buyers. And I'm not talking about the exception, whatever. Okay, cool. Overall, Black people in America are buyers. Let's take a look at the Jewish community. Overall, the Jewish community, they do an exceptional job, or Indian community, Asian communities across the board. They do an exceptional job at when they get money, they spend money with their own group, which helps their group become more successful. Now, when we brought up that graphic a while ago about the average income for Black people in America, they're at the bottom because we are buyers, not sellers. So when it comes to America, I don't understand how we're not comprehending that we need to become and incentivize ourselves and incentivize other companies. Let's say if it's Toyota, if it's a Japanese company. No, we're charging you tariffs. If you want to produce your trucks, build your factory in America. So that way, even though you're a Japanese company, at least you have to hire American workers. Let's continue with the video.
Tariffs and these actions, we are hopes that it'll be a motivator to get these companies to get their butts in gear and take care of American workers.
What do you say about the uncertainty that some of these companies are facing? The big three were told these tariffs are going into place, then they got an exception for them. Today, everyone else who makes groceries, oil, fertilizer, all of these other things that go back and forth across the border, they got an exception. What does the uncertainty say about how companies should be preparing for what's coming?
Well, the companies, this isn't new. I mean, there's been warnings, for a couple months now, for a month, and since the election was called. I mean, we've heard this. So they've had time to prepare. But I look at it this way, what we've seen happen over the years. I mean, workers, consumers, communities, they've paid the price for NAFTA and for these unfair trade agreements, and they shouldn't have to pay to fix it. We hear a lot of talk, a lot of fear mongering about, tariffs or attacks.
Please pay attention to when he said unfair trade agreements. Matter of fact, hold on. I got to stop it right there. He said unfair.
Ew, y'all know what it is. It's Dak from the OG Network. And I just want to thank y'all. That's right, to thank y'all for all of your tremendous support over the years, whether you've been rocking with us from the beginning or maybe this is the first show that you're checking out on the network. We want to thank you nonetheless. And we have an ask, all right? We have a goal of reaching 20,000 subscribers by the end of March. That's right, 20K by the end of March. It's not a real goal unless you put a date on it. And with that, we need your help. So we ask that if you are enjoying the content that you like, subscribe if you haven't already. And if you're feeling real generous, maybe share with some friends and family. All right, I'll let y'all go. And once again, thank you for your continued support. And we look forward to growing with y'all. See y'all soon. Ew.
Fair trade agreements. A lot of people don't really understand what does he mean when he says that? Unfair trade agreements. I'm going to show you exactly what he means when he says unfair trade agreements. What you're seeing on the screen is the average tariff on U.S. goods compared to the U.S. average tariff on their goods. So when Trump has to do a better job, in his Republican Party, they have to do a better job of explaining what he means when he says reciprocal tariffs. So I went on to the whitehouse.org and I looked up Donald Trump and his team's plan of fair and reciprocal plan on trade. Fair and reciprocal. And I said, okay, what does he mean? Then I went to ChatGPT. So this ChatGPT, these numbers, so bear with me. You could fact check them all you want, you know, whatever. It's ChatGPT. I got to be clear with that. So we should confirm these numbers. But this aligns with what the Canadian gentleman in the video, I believe that we played on Friday, was saying to Americans. This Canadian gentleman was saying, like, yo, Americans, y'all aren't realizing that Canada already charges U.S. tariffs. Look at this on the screen that we're seeing. Canada, what they charge us when we want to sell our products in Canada as Americans, they charge us on average 14.4% on U.S. goods. You know what we charge them on average? 0.1%. Does that seem fair or intelligent in any way to y'all? It seems like we're being taken advantage of. Yes or no? Look at Mexico. On average, we pay 7.3% compared to them paying 0.1%. Does that seem fair to y'all? So when Trudeau and the Mexican president, but let's focus on Trudeau, when he gets up there and says, Americans, I want to talk to the American people. We do not want this. I should play the video, but I'm not. He says, we do not want this. We don't want to have a trade war. Bro, of course you don't want to have a trade war. You've been getting away with taking advantage of us, charging us 14.4% on the goods we want to sell in Canada compared to us charging y'all 0.1%. Who can argue this? Who can argue this? Look at China, 13.1%. They're charging us compared to 2.9%. And we wonder why China is destroying us from an economic standpoint. Look at Japan, 1.7 to 1.6. Fair, but why not make it an even 1.6, 1.6? Look at Germany, 1.6 to 1.6. That's fair. So when you go and look at Donald Trump's plan, the fair and reciprocal plan, when he even, because I had to look at this, and I'm not sure if you guys watched the show when we reviewed his speech to Congress. When he did his speech to Congress, he was saying like, hey, we're just going to charge them what they're charging us. And I was like, like that just makes sense. So why are people opposing this? But he also didn't do a good job of explaining it. And I don't think that he's done a good job of explaining the tariffs, even though I think that his position on tariffs is good. I don't think that they've done a good enough job of explaining it. So you guys can look at this. I'm gonna put this link in the chat. You guys can go check it out for yourself. Go check it out for yourself. Don't trust me. Don't trust anything that I'm saying. Don't trust ChatGPT. Do the research yourself, because I didn't fully understand the tariffs. So I decided to look it up on my own. And I had to look up a whole bunch of videos because, to be totally honest, most of the videos were biased in one way or another, whether they're leaning Democrat, leaning Republican, leaning pro-business, what's best for my business, or what's best for the people that follow me. And as I talk about what's best for my business and the bias, I'm going to play a video after this video by Earn Your Leisure, in which I believe that they intentionally omitted a lot of details just to appeal to the majority of their audience. But let's continue to look at the video from Sean Fain.
for NAFTA and for these unfair trade. But I look at it this way, what we've seen happen over the years, I mean, workers, consumers, communities, they've paid the price for NAFTA and for these unfair trade agreements, and they shouldn't have to pay to fix it. We hear a lot of talk, a lot of fear mongering about, tariffs or attacks. Tariffs are going to cause the price to go up. That's a choice on behalf of the companies. They don't have to raise the price a penny. That's the same thing we heard during our Big Three strike. It was going to be the end of the world. The sky is falling if we get these contracts. And what happened? We got great contracts, taking care of workers so they get their fair share. Companies are still making billions of dollars, and they're still forking over billions of dollars to shareholders. So, I believe we got to focus, on
what he's saying is that companies don't have to increase their price. Walmart could just keep, let's say their profit margin is 40%. Well, let's say it goes down a little bit to 35%. Walmart, you'll be all right. If you believe it's for the greater good of the country, Walmart, if you believe that it's ultimately going to increase the value of the dollar, decrease inflation, help with hiring more factory workers in America, help to incentivize more of our money being circulated in our own economy. If you believe all those things, is it worth it? And like I said, all these boycotts that we wanted, these goofy boycotts, we talked about the one with Jamal Bryant boycotting Target. You're going to boycott the number one employer of Black people outside the federal government. That's who you decide to boycott. So all these other goofy boycotts, let's boycott something that actually makes sense. If you're a company that wants to pass on the tariff expense to the consumers, the American consumers, even though this is good for America and American people, if you're the company that wants to pass on those expenses to us, then how about we go shop elsewhere? How about we incentivize other companies to not pass on those tariff expenses? Because what's going to end up happening is, let's say I'm an American company, and I sell the example that we used last night was vacuums. So if you go back and look at the video, you'll see the example in vacuums with Hoover vacuums compared to vacuums that are made outside the country, let's say in China, for significantly less. So Hoover, who charges $160 for their vacuum, who hasn't been able to compete with the company that charges $140 for their vacuum because they can produce it at a lower price. Now Hoover, we can go to them and say, hey, you're going to be getting a lot more people, a lot more Americans buying your product. So therefore, maybe you'll decrease your price a little bit more. I don't know. But the point is that it still makes more sense for us to be buying American products. And the reason why I say it makes more sense is because that's what the other countries that are doing better than us economically are doing. Now, let me, I think I saw a comment. So Ebony wrote, shout out to Ebony in the building. I wonder what the initial agreement was when making these tariff agreements. Was there something in place, but we no longer feel the benefit of imbalance? I don't know. That's a good question. If you do look into it, definitely let us know. We'll continue maybe for another minute of this video, then we'll move on to the Earn Your Leisure video.
What's right for American people? The American market is the cash cow for the auto industry. And, we've seen, like I said, the exodus of 90,000 factories since NAFTA's inception, and that's got to change.
Some people might be surprised to hear you praising what Trump is doing on tariffs. I mean, you were one of the biggest, most prominent backers of Vice President Harris. You called Trump a scab, which is not, that's a four-letter word that is not nice if you're a big union person, to put it lightly. What should someone take from this, that you're praising Trump's moves here, if he sticks with them?
Look, as I said, there's a lot of things we don't agree with. I mean, like the National Institute of Health Workers and all, people whose jobs are being cut. But look, the election's over. No matter who's in charge, our mission doesn't change. Trump is the president, and, we all recognize that there is a major issue with our broken trade laws. And, we agree on that, and we're ready and willing to go to work to fix it. The working class in this nation has been hurting for decades because of unfair trade practices. And they're not concerned with party politics. They want their problems addressed, and they expect leaders to lead.
Ladies and gentlemen.
In other words, Democrats, you lost. Get on board. Humble yourself. We're supposed to be a united front. You're the party of democracy, which means that you voted, whoever the majority of people vote for, that's who we go with. So humble yourself, work with Trump, still push the things that the people that support you guys want, but do it in a diplomatic way rather than the goofy way that y'all are going about stuff, because we got to keep in mind you lost, and to the victor go the spoils. So it is what it is. People voted for Donald Trump. Let me catch up with these comments before we go to the Earn Your Leisure video. So Ebony said, only thing is for smaller companies that need out-of-country parts and materials. Ebony, I'm one of those smaller companies. We sell clothing. We sell clothing. We were working with Pakistan. We were working with Pakistan. We were getting our clothing from Pakistan. We were getting clothing from China. And you know what? About 6-7 months ago, we started to say, you know what? Let's start looking for an LA manufacturer. Let's start going over there. We got to pay a little bit more. So what? So what? Like, it's like people don't realize that this is not a, well, if it hurts anybody, then we can't do it. It's going to hurt some people. But do we realize what the alternative is? The alternative is for us to be in what are we, $34 trillion in debt? The alternative is for other companies, other countries. Like, think about it like this. This is what we don't realize. We will say that China is our biggest competitor. China is our biggest threat, right? But then we will support their economy. So what's the alternative to not buying stuff in America? It's literally we are fueling and feeding and supporting our biggest enemy. So therefore, their economy, they can make more money. They can buy better weapons. They can have better technology. They can build a much better, bigger army like they have right now. What is the alternative? It's like, oh, small companies got to pay a little bit more. Yeah, we all in life have to figure out situations. It is what it is. And I'm speaking as one of those smaller companies. It is what it is. Figure it out.
It's Dak. Just want to thank you for checking out our video and visiting the OG Network. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure that you give us a like. And if you're looking to join a community of inspired individuals striving for purposeful abundance, subscribe. And if you're feeling real generous, share the video with some friends and family. All right, I'll see y'all soon.